y'all, it's Paige back with Golden Words. I have been gone, but I promise you I'm going to tell you guys all about it. This video is going to focus on grief, and let's just get into it. So, for those of you who don't know, I know a lot of my subscribers are people that I know who live in the same city as me or who follow me on Instagram, so you know a little bit about where I've been and what's been going on. I recently lost my mom, so as you guys can imagine, I was definitely just going through a lot of different emotions and I shut down, which is particularly why I wanted to focus this video on grief, because I wanted just to be raw and just honestly let y'all know like what I'm feeling, because honestly I think it can help someone else. First of all, I just want to say a little bit about my mom. Her name was Hazel Owens, an amazing woman, off the chain. I'm every bit of her as far as when it comes to my personality. I can admit that now. If you would ask me that last year, I'd be like, I'm nothing like her. She was a nurse for many years. She had 4 children, and she was amazing. I won't get into like the whole gist of things, but for a little bit of a background story, she had cancer and then just went through some complications that led to her passing. So I want to talk about just a little bit initially at first what I was feeling. Of course, it was utter shock. It was like disbelief. When my sister called me, it wasn't that I didn't believe what she was saying. It was just more so like my heart was catching up with my mind. Like my heart felt the shock, but my mind was like, no. Like it didn't catch. It didn't get what it was saying at the same time. Honestly, it didn't get it to a couple days later. It was a lot. The second thing I thought about was my siblings. My mom had 4 beautiful children, including myself, and we all had different type of relationships with her. I have an older sister who had a beautiful relationship with my mom. I have a older brother who is the only boy, so y'all know how that relationship was, where he got away with everything. And then there was me, where me and my mom were just alike, so we butted heads, but we loved each other down and we had each other's back. And then my younger sibling, which is the baby, so you know how that relationship it was as well. She was a baby, so she got everything she wanted and didn't go through anything that me and my siblings went through. So that was my initial thought, like, oh my goodness, my siblings. And I gotta be strong. Honestly, that was my first thing. Like, I have to be strong. Like, I cried on my way to the house to go see my siblings, had my praise and worship going. Like, I literally, I was going through it. But in my head, I was like, I have to be strong for my younger sister, Samara, because she's 17 and just lost her mom when she needs her, the most. When I was 17, me and my mom were butting heads, but I needed her, and I was grateful to have her. Being that my mom was battling with this cancer, it took a toll on all of us, but we never thought it would have gotten to the point where she wouldn't be here with us today. It's a lot. So during that week of just preparing for the funeral and everything, there was a lot going on, just within funeral arrangements, family, and I definitely shut down. It did get to the point where I just didn't want to talk to anybody but my siblings. Like, they were the only, texts and calls I was really answering, and my daddy. Like, I didn't really want to talk. Like, what am I talking to y'all for? Y'all don't know how I feel. It's basically what it was. But honestly, all praises to the Most High, because as I look back and I just reflect over my life over the last year and a half, he was preparing me for that moment, because me and my mom had definitely got closer over that time, where our relationship had kind of finally been what I had always wanted it to be. So I was very grateful for that as well. Just grief. So one thing with grief, guys, is that it's just constantly up and down. There isn't, when I wake up in the morning, honestly, because it's just so fresh, I don't really know how I'm gonna feel. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, she's the first thing I think about, and sometimes I end up thinking about her in the middle of the day. Those range of emotions go from anger, sadness, happiness when I think about memories or when I'm looking at pictures or Snapchat videos. But there's just some days where I don't want to get out of bed because, again, I'm dealing with the reality of I don't have my mom. And it's very tough to deal with because I no longer have that person to call. I no longer have that, like my mom, like it's my mom. Like the reason why I'm here today is because of this woman and my father, of course. But the relationship that you have with your mom and your dad are separate when it just comes to what you get from them. You need both of them, but what you get from them are separate. So I knew I wouldn't be able to get that. Thankfully, I have a great relationship with my stepmom, and if anything, this moment is teaching me to just cherish that relationship with not only my father, but her as well, because she is still that mother figure in my life. But at the same time, I was like, I don't have a mom. And it's one thing about my stepmom, I am able to like communicate with her, and she does understand that, like what I mean when I say that. But the person that brought me here, the person that I had 25 years of knowing and bonding with and drama with, I don't have that anymore. My mom passed a couple weeks after or before Mother's Day. So I went through that whole Mother's Day point where I'm just like, I don't want to, like, what is Mother's Day? I was angry. And me and my sisters actually went to Universal. And I think we all did a really good job of pretending like we were okay. But in the back of our mind, we were just like, I want my mama. Like, we're supposed to be having like a little cookout with peach cobbler and sweet potato pie and getting on her nerves. It's a lot. One thing about grief is that you go through the cycle so many times, and it's not really a certain amount of time that you do it and everything's okay. It's different for every person, and it's important just to go through all of those different emotions because they're needed, and those different emotions have to be, you have to go through them in order just to get through this period. One thing I'm just learning within just going to therapy again and going through grief counseling, which is a whole nother set of things, is it's an adjustment that just has to be made. It's nothing I can really do. I just have to make this adjustment because one thing I know as far as my mom, she would definitely want me to keep pushing and to keep going. Sorry for this sunlight, y'all. It was good in the beginning, but you can see me. You see my brown skin. But it was definitely something that just needed, it's something that we have to adjust to, which is a hard thing for me to grasp to this day. Because it's just like, how am I supposed to adjust to it, or in a way like accept that I don't have my mom? Like, why are you asking me to, or not her asking me to, but just like, why do I have to do this? I don't want to do that. I want my mom. And the thing that kind of got me to just during the period of the funeral, people were like, oh, if you need anything, like, I'm here. And of course you go, oh, thank you. But in my head, I'm like, can you bring her back? Not that I want to change God's will, but that was the only thing at that moment that was going to make me feel better. Like me waking up from this terrible dream. So just aside from just that, grief is hard. It's very hard. Scooter, that's my dog. It's very hard and looks very different every day. A lot of the times I will say I'm angry. And honestly, to this day, I can't really tell you where the anger, like who it's to. I just know I feel angry sometimes. And Sadness, that just comes from no more memories, or no more memories and just not having her. Happiness, that comes from just viewing pictures and memories on Facebook, and that comes up a lot, and just laughing and remembering what things were and cherishing those things. But honestly, most of the time I feel down. I feel like I'm not understood. During this grief period, a lot of my relationships just with my peers have honestly disappeared, I guess you can say. Because I know I'm a lot during this time to handle. And I don't expect someone to stay through this period of grief with me, because I know I'm not that same like, just bubbly Paige. I'm different, but I know that it's temporary. I'm giving myself a break when I have bad days. Like, I can have a really sad day or a really angry day or whatever, and I'm just like, Paige, why are you acting like that? Like, get through this. Like, I used to be so harsh on myself, but now I'm just kind of like, no, that's needed. Like, you gotta, if today is gonna be a day where you feel sad, feel it. And if today's gonna be a day when I'm angry, feel it. But what was happening, I was noticing that too many days were being sad, too many days were being angry. And I was like, okay, it's time to call my therapist, because things can escalate from here very quickly if I don't talk to somebody that's just kind of unbiased in the situation, and honestly will know what to say. Because me and my therapist, like, I really wish if it was ethical, I could be her best friend, because the lady is amazing. So I was able to definitely call her in. So therapy definitely helps with the grief. Because there's a particular type of therapy at this point where it's grief counseling. So the focus is my grief and different coping mechanisms I can use. I did learn that my coping mechanisms that I've used previously, which is other things that I was growing from, did not work or does not work within this period of grief. So it's been a lot of adjusting to, like, okay, what can I do on days I feel like this that could help even 2%? Or, it's a whole different outlook on things. And one thing about me being a student and pursuing a career of therapy is that in the beginning I tried to be like my own therapist, and that does not work. So do not try that, y'all. Like, talk to somebody that you're comfortable with. If you have a therapist or you can afford a therapist, talk to them. But if you can't, if there's someone that you feel comfortable talking to, talk to them. A lot of times we just need to let things out. We want to know that what we're feeling is not crazy. I know a lot of things I keep asking my counselor is, I feel like this, I feel like that. Is that normal? And, it's just like, yeah, for what you're going through, a lot of these things are normal and you're going to feel them often. But for this video, I was very nervous about making it, because I was like, oh, Paige, you're going to break down. But I was like, shoot, if I break down, I break down, and this is a part of my process. So surprisingly, I have not really teared up during this, which shows me that, again, it's another step. This grief period and grief in itself, guys, is a journey. And one thing you have to really think about is, don't think about your end goal where you finally get to the point where you're okay. Just take it step by step. Because I have friends that have lost parents, and I have people that you see on Facebook that you're friends with, and they've lost their parents. And I've spoken to a couple of them, and they're just like, girl, it's been 5 years and I still feel like that. I honestly was like I'm still gonna feel this bad 5 years from now. But it's not necessarily feeling bad, but it's a process. And it's your mom. A mom is someone that is irreplaceable. And it's a lot. So, for anybody out there that's listening and that's going through grief, what I can tell you is to be patient with yourself and to cut yourself slack. Because what we're dealing with, especially any of you all have lost a parent, it hits different. I will tell you that much. I always said when I was younger, when I lost my grandma, I was like, I don't know how I would get through anything worse than this. And I thought nothing would ever get worse of when losing my grandmother, because we were so close. And me losing my mom feels 10 times worse than that. During this period, I have definitely thought, okay, you got another parent left. Treasure that parent. Do what you need to do on your end and cherish it. Spend more time with family and friends, because it's just like death is sudden and it just happens. And with my mom, although she was battling cancer, death honestly wasn't on our radar. Even her physicians didn't really think, we all knew it was a possibility, but we just didn't see that happening. And she had cancer before and she beat it it wasn't nothing. So I think a lot of us had those expectations, okay, she just gonna beat this, this ain't nothing. So not that it was a nothing, but she did it once, she could do it again. It was kind of just our motto, Mom, you got this. And my mom, even when she was in pain, was so strong, y'all. She was just kind of these are the cards I've been dealt, and we gonna get through it. But I definitely did see the moments where it got hard for her, which broke me down a lot before she passed. But I just thought it's a different ball game than the first one. But losing her, I will be honest, has definitely put my life in just a whole different. A lot of times, y'all, I feel like I'm in a different world. I'll have my moments where I feel normal, and then I'll just go off into my thoughts, and I just feel like no one understands me, or I feel like I'll never, quote unquote, be normal again. I think about not having my mom at my wedding, with my first child, meeting my husband. I think about all those memories that I will not be able to have with her. I think about my nephews and nieces and how they won't have that relationship with a grandparent. So many things go through my head, and that's honestly what brings out the sadness. And it sucks. But I also think about all the memories that we have and all the videos that I have. And thank God that we're in a day and age where taking pictures and videos and Snapchat is, there and used a lot. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit of what I've been going through and just how I'm dealing with my grief. There is no particular way to deal with it. You deal with it the best way that you can. For me, I knew that I could not cope with this by myself. So the best thing for me to do was to go ahead and start therapy again, which was needed in other areas now that I'm in it as well. So I want to start back publishing things on this YouTube channel because one, it helps me, and honestly, I just know that it's helping others. So I'm gonna continue. I'm actually rebranding everything. I've been focused on my company, which is still up and running, and will continue up and running, because one of my last text messages from my mom was, don't give up. I have her messages still pinned in my phone, and she said, don't give up, just keep going. And she said she didn't want me to lose faith. So therapeutics is still running. A lot of y'all don't even know what therapeutics is because, like I said, I've been MIA because life just happened real fast and it got hectic, child. So I will post a link for therapeutics if you guys don't know about it. But I came out with a new brand of athleisure and fitness apparel and loungewear. I am throwing in some men's stuff soon, but I don't order my stuff from this country. So with everything going on in the world, it takes a little bit longer for things to get here. So I'm still waiting on certain things. This lighting is so bad. I'm sorry, y'all. So men, I'm sorry, but it's coming, but there's just been some things happening. But yeah, check out Therapeutics. I am putting it out there that I'll be your new favorite fitness brand. And y'all, again, thank you. And I just want to say all praise to the Most High for me even being here and being able to talk with you guys, because without Christ, baby, I would not be here today. He has been the biggest thing on this journey for me in pushing through to where I am today. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in another video next week, because we're going to keep these going. Have a great one.